Hi, good afternoon, everybody. We will start at 5 o'clock, so that's 2 minutes from now. I hope you can all hear me. Great. Thank you for that. No. So earlier, it was quiet because no one was speaking. Okay, very good. We'll start in 2 minutes. Thank you for joining us today. So, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Anne Ordonia, the General Manager of Infinit Care, and I'm also the host and moderator for today. We are joined by over 500 attendees here in Zoom, and we're also streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. Okay. Yes, for those who are watching on YouTube, you can't join in Zoom anymore because it reached capacity, but we're very happy to be streaming this on YouTube and Facebook. We will also be keeping this video on YouTube. So later on, if you want to rewatch it, you can do so. Okay, so 1 minute to go. Let me just look at where people are coming from today. I saw earlier there were people from Caloocan, as far as Marawi, Marinduque, Iloilo. Wow, ang dami. QC, diba? Represent. Cebu City, ay may hapon po. Okay. All right. Caraga Region, Tagbilaran, Bohol. Mayong hapon sa inyong tanan. Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, it's 5 o'clock. We will start. Okay, so Shine, are you there? Can you turn on your video? All right. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Anne Ordonia. I'm the General Manager of Infinit Care. Thank you very much for joining us in our webinar today called Building Mental Resilience Through Uncertainty. We are indeed living in uncertain times, right? So much uncertainty out there. Magkakaroon nga ba ng vaccine? Will life return to normal after all of these ECQ, GCQ lockdowns? Will my job still be safe? Or if I've lost my job, will I be able to find one immediately after this? So much uncertainty, and here at Infinit Care, we wanted to offer this talk because we know that a lot of us are going through these challenging times. And through all this uncertainty, we believe that it's important to remain tough, to remain resilient. So resilient means being tough amidst all the challenges that we're facing at this time. Infinite Care is actually a mental health and an online mental health platform. We offer online counseling services and webinars such as this. And today we'll be joined by Ms. Shine Mangulabnan, who's one of our partner counselors here at Infinit Care. So Shine is our speaker for today. Shine has a background in guidance and counseling, almost 2 decades in guidance and counseling. Sorry to reveal your age, Shine. So Shine has a master's degree in guidance and counseling. She's been experienced in providing support to employees from different multinational corporations, schools, industries such as hospitality. She's been supporting people through that come from different walks of life. Shine is currently taking up her PhD in family studies as well, and she'll be helping us understand how do we go through uncertainty and build our mental resilience. Her talk will last for about 25 to 30 minutes, after which we will entertain questions. So if you do have questions, whether you're watching this from YouTube, Facebook, or Zoom, please type your questions in chat or Q&A, and we will select a few questions to ask Shine directly. If I'm unable to answer your questions, I will still take note of them, and we hope that we'd be able to get back to you through our follow-up emails. All right. So do stay tuned for that. So without further ado, let me now turn you over to Shine Mangulabnan. Unmute.
There, okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's nice to be here today and to know that there are a lot of people from the different regions of the Philippines who are here and are willing to listen to this talk. So I hope that at the end of this talk, kahit papano, I can live a lesson or two to each and every one of you so that we can together go smoothly through this transition of change. Okay, so let me start my talk by telling you that in today's time, there are a lot of different things that have been happening to us, right? There are a lot of different changes that are happening to us. For the others, it's good. For the others, it's something new. But no matter what it is, it's something that we all have to deal with. Okay, so for this afternoon, for the next 30 minutes, I'll be talking to you about the different process of change. There's a different kind of change that we're going through now because we're going through a pandemic. So I'll go through that. And of course, we'll be talking about how we react, how each individual react to change in terms of physical, psychological, and emotional reactions. And I will also want to touch base on as to why it's important for us to understand this change and to understand the different reactions. Because of course, when we do understand the different psychological changes, we get to know ourselves more, and that's when we learn how to build resilience. Okay, so the word resilience, it's probably very common, right? Ang sabi nga nila, Filipinos, we're resilient daw because sa pagkadami-dami ng bagyo, pagkadami-dami ng calamities that we go through, we still manage to get back up on our feet and go through with our everyday challenges. But I think this time it's more challenging because it's prolonged and it's affecting different parts of our lives and different kinds of industries. So let me share to you one of my personal quotes from one of the American authors that I enjoyed reading her books growing up. So from Ursula Le Guin, the only thing that makes life possible is permanent, intolerable uncertainty, not knowing what comes next. So at this point, we're on our fourth month, or roughly, yes, fourth month of being on lockdown. Others might be on ECQ, like the beloved Cebu is in ECQ. Here in Manila, we're on GCQ. So, what happens next? What is to expect in the couple of months, in the coming months, right? So, I will talk about the different meaning of change in today's new normal. Why it's important for us to go through the different reactions and to understand the different reactions that happen to us. And of course, I'll be giving you some tips. For others, it may be applicable. For others, naman, may not be. But I hope that most of what I will be sharing with you today will be applicable to us one way or another. So, the dictionary would define change as a transformation, a substitution, or a transition. But for me, And I think for many of you now, you believe that change is constant in our life. Actually, change is the only thing that is constant in our life, right? As simple as when you're single and you decide to get married, that of course is a simple process of change. But let's talk about the broader sense of change at this point of our lives. All of us are very much affected with the pandemic, with COVID. Some of us might have lost loved ones, close friends. And what are these changes doing to our daily lives? What are these changes? How is it shaping the way we think about ourselves, the way we think about the future? How is change making us stronger or weaker or more scared of the future? Okay, so there is a process and there are different changes, right, that we're dealing with right now. So here I'm just showing you different photos, okay, which I'm sure we all can relate to these. Okay, so the challenging times can be very much close to us, right? It's like the physical changes that we feel. For example, since ECQ, we might have had a hard time getting enough sleep, or for others, mas nagiging madalas ang migraines or pananakit ng katawan that could also happen, right? Our social our social interactions have very much changed as well. You know, when we go out, when we do our groceries, there's a certain distance that we have to keep, and we cannot just visit our loved ones in their houses. We haven't seen family members for a long time, so that is change. Well, in fact, before, if you feel like you just want to see your friend o ang bilis-bilis mong yayain, diba? You can just tell your friend, "O tara, kape tayo." O sige, saan? And it's so simple. Right now, even if you want to get coffee, the next challenge would be, saan naman kayo magkakape? When all the stores are closed, or maybe all the stores, or some stores are transitioning into taking in dine-ins, but you have to also keep a certain distance. There's also organizational change in our own careers, in our own offices. Some or many of us might have lost their jobs due to the pandemic, which causing also the fall or the losses in different businesses. Okay, so that's the organizational change. And very much on the financial change. Since if we've lost our job or we're so scared to lose our jobs, then we become more careful, we become more keen on our budget, on our budgets and our finances, right? For example, your friend who lost her job is trying to sell out stuff on Facebook, just probably trying to cook, let's say, leche flan. Even if how much you want to support, even if you want to support that friend, sometimes it becomes a challenge also on your own part because alam mo, you're also on a budget. Alam mo, even if you want to help your friend, you're also careful on the spending that you're doing. Okay? So that's one of our challenge. That's one of the changes that we have to deal with, go through, and at the same time understand so that we can become resilient in the end. And it's become a challenge also, the different work arrangements that we have at home. You're a parent, and then at the same time, you have to attend the Zoom meeting, right? Or you just have to keep attending Zoom meetings. That's also another thing, when before it was simpler, it was easier to be talking to people. Or if you need someone, you just go to the cubicle or to the office right next to you and voila, that's there. But now there's the challenge that you have to find a space at home, maghanap ka ng quiet space at home na hindi ka guguluhin ng mga anak mo or hindi ka guguluhin ng mga aso mo, diba? For you to be able to focus on work or to focus on the task that you have to do. Because of course, part of that is also you're scared to lose your job, 'di ba? So, ang daming changes na dati wala naman. Na dati we don't even think about, right? Did we even think? Did it even, for a slightest moment, did it ever cross our minds that we won't be we won't be having coffee right next to the person that we love, or we won't have coffee in Starbucks with our office mate, just like that, right? So those are the challenges. Those are the changes that we need to do. And of course, businesses are closing down. I At first I thought it was just the hospitality, the airline industries that are very much affected. But now, when we look at the news, when we read the news, when we read the papers, um, different establishments have closed. Restaurants that you probably grew up eating with your family, have suddenly closed, have suddenly decided to sell out stocks or to sell out their equipments because the business is not something that they can sustain for the coming months, right? So that's the global change that we are all experiencing at this most challenging times. So when these changes happen, it we cannot deny it, right? Uh, these are part of what we are experiencing right now. So it's important that we understand that change is a process. Okay, it's not an event. COVID is part of the change that we are all experiencing right now. Okay, but I like this model that I'm sharing to you right now because for me, this model is the best diagram, if I may call it, yeah, no, a best diagram for us to understand how we can go through or how we can process the things that we're learning and the things that we've learned already, the old and the familiar things that we've learned in our lives, okay, as adults or as teenagers or as or maybe in your mid 20s, okay, figure out what are the things, old and familiar things that you know about yourself, okay? What are the things that you're good at? The things that scare you the most. You have to understand yourself as to what are your triggers also. If, for example, right now, you don't feel like looking or watching the news because it gives you bad vibes, then stop. By all means, stop. Okay? Because it's not going to do you any good, right? So figure out what are the things that are getting you upset, making you upset while being at home, while being on lockdown. And then learn to understand about the situation. Okay, so that's where increased knowledge comes in. What's the next step of the government in terms of managing COVID? What's your barangay doing in terms of taking care of people or medical care? And then later on, you will understand. You will have an idea as to what are these things that are being done in your own community. And then you can apply it in your own ways or in your homes. And that's when you understand better the situation. You have it's not naman understanding it 100%, but keeping yourself informed and making sure that the information you get are facts and not exaggerated information. It will help you understand the situation and make you be more in control of your little surroundings or your little environment, and then you apply it little by little at home. So you tell your family that, you know what, this is what the barangays are doing right now. So maybe in some ways we can also um, contribute, or we can help by, say, for example, staying at home more, or if there are little, what do you call this, the markets, the what do you call that, the yeah, the markets or the if you, for example, you have a neighbor who comes and sells fruits and vegetables to you in your own barangay, then you apply that understanding na, okay, ganito daw ang process. So you apply that. And then when you apply it, there comes the experience. Okay? Because, when you learn about these things, learning about ourselves and learning about the skills, your own skills, you tend to live a life that's more mindful, diba? You tend to be more careful with the decisions that you do in terms of relating with your neighbors or relating with your family. So that entire experience will take you also there to, to being mindful to the things that you're going to do. So next, it's your choice. The power to choose, okay? When I'm so scared with the news, do I just not turn on the TV, for example? Or when I'm so scared to go back to work, do I not just go back to work? But of course, think about the consequences later on, right? Think about, okay, if you're going back to work, what did HR say? What are the protocols that you have to follow? Then there, again, you have the power to choose. Every decision that we make in our life that pertains to change is always a process. Okay, and every decision that we make makes us better individuals. It gives us greater personal growth later on, and then it teaches us to go through the different challenges that we have to face again in the next stage of our life, right? Because understanding how we humans would relate and how we work with our environment very much equates to resilience. Okay? So, how we understand ourselves, how we relate to others, how we work, it encompasses, or it's the totality of what resilience is all about. We might think that, oh, resilience is about being strong, being strong as an individual. But later on, I will share to you that that can be a myth. Okay, that can be a myth. And what is it talaga? What is it really to be resilient? Okay. Yes, I think most of us understand that, okay, this is such a huge change for everyone. Um, it's not going to be the same in the couple of months or even in the years to come. But we have to understand that, change happens to us and it's normal, right? Others, it can be harmful for those who have lost their jobs, for those who've lost loved ones. And then for the others, it's an opportunity, okay? Because that is probably the time that you become more engaged with your family, probably being more at home made you understand what you really want in terms of your career. Being at home during the ECQ probably taught you different skills like baking, or probably taught you to love plants, for example. Diba? So, iba-ibang effect. May iba-ibang effect and change in our lives. But, like what I always tell everyone when I do my counseling, change will always be a part of us eh. Hindi talaga natin maiiwasan ang mga pagbabago sa buhay. But how we cope with it, how we cope with change, should be something that we need to look into deeper within ourselves. Paano ko ba lalabanan ang change? Lalabanan ko ba siya? Paano ko ba sasakyan ang change? Right? So it's all up to us. The decision is always, ano ba talaga? Right? What is it that I want? Oops, sorry about that. Right? So it's always your decision. Okay? So now we'll be talking about the different reactions. Okay? Like what I said, hindi lang siya physical reaction that we deal with, right? When there are challenges, when there are changes, it doesn't just show in our physical, but it shows in all the different aspects of our lives. So it's difficult when you feel like it's so difficult to be happy right now. How can you be happy when the people you know are losing parents? How can you be happy when you know that there are a lot of people struggling in different areas of the Philippines because of COVID, right? So it's normal to feel that way. It's normal to acknowledge the fact that, okay, how can I be happy? Diba? How can I be happy when I'm so scared of what's happening? When I have fear, when I don't even know what's going to happen in a couple of months. So that's a normal reaction to an abnormal situation. Emotional numbing, when you feel like, okay, you've watched it in the news, o yan na naman, tumataas lang yung numbers of those who are affected in different barangays in Quezon City, for example. And you just tell yourself, well, that's what happens. That's emotional numbing. And don't be scared when you feel that way. You also have to acknowledge na, okay, hindi naman pala ako passive. It's just that siguro for the past 3 months, um, nasanay na ako, right? Or it's too painful to even react sometimes. So please, just give yourself some time and don't feel na, oh, I'm so bad because I did not react or I did not feel bad about it, right? There's cognitive effects when there are times when you're so confused. Okay, as simple as, anong araw ba ngayon? Tuesday na pala. Ay, Friday na pala ang bilis ng araw. Well, you cannot blame yourself with being at home every day and not really having a calendar to super follow, right? That really happens. There's also this belief now, how come this has been going on for months? Will this ever end? Right? Will this pandemic, will this fear, will this uncertainty ever end? So that's what happens in our brain, right? That's what happens to us in terms of cognitive effect. Okay? There are also times when you may feel like there are impaired decisions, right? When you cannot decide thoroughly about something. So give yourself some slack and let it be, okay? Because again, we have to embrace that this is the new normal and we have to be kind to ourselves also. The physical effects, I think a lot of people have manifested this. Most of those I counsel, most of those that I talk to, these are the very first things that they would that they rather felt the very first time COVID was released or the very first few weeks of ECQ. So you're tired. Pagod na pagod ako, nasa bahay lang naman ako. Hindi naman ako lumabas at hindi naman na traffic. Pero there's that feeling na pagod ka, even if umaga pa. And that's normal. Okay, there's insomnia. You have a hard time sleeping because there are so many things that are in your head. Will I still have my job next month? If I won't be having my job anymore, what am I going to do? What am I going to get into later on? Right? And sometimes those worries, those stressful worries turn into headaches or migraines. Right? For others naman, sumasakit yung mga binti, sumasakit yung mga arms, sumasakit yung mga shoulders, yung likod. That's normal. Okay? But of course, when it becomes more apparent or when it continues for a couple of weeks or a couple of months and your paracetamol is not working or yung masahe ng anak mo is not working, so please find the time also to consult the doctor. You can do that by going online, asking a doctor, and then trying to figure out also what can be done later on. Right? So interpersonal effects, like what I mentioned a while ago, some people might be withdrawn. You might have friends who are going through depression, who just lost a job and who does not want to get contacted. Others would probably block friends in Facebook or would not want to answer your calls. Okay, allow that person to feel that way for a couple of days, and then later on, just try again. Try to reach out, and let's see if that person finally responds back. Okay, there's impaired work performance. You know that you're very grateful you still have a job. You know that it's okay to be working at home, but you cannot just focus. Why? Because this is part of our psyche. We worry as humans. Um, we have reactions. And this is one of the reactions that you're feeling, and allow yourself to feel that way. Perhaps the best thing to do is talk to your manager, talk to your supervisor, or talk to someone else about why you're feeling that way. And malay mo, that simple conversation that you have will lift you up a little. Okay? So there are others who might feel like, hindi naman ako kinukumusta ng mga friends ko. So hindi na lang din ako mangungumusta. Okay? That's the feeling of being alienated. The feeling na, wala naman eh. Okay? But we cannot blame everybody now because we're going through our own little challenges, right? We're going through our own burdens. But it's never wrong to reach out to others. Like what I said a while ago, being resilient means, being resilient doesn't mean keeping things to yourself and dealing with them on your own.
Shine. This is Anne.
Yes.
Before you go
Hi,
ahead,
Anne.
I just heard
Mm,
that there are several attendees from around the world, not just Filipinos. So
okay. So I cannot speak
share.
Filipino.
No, we can. You can
Okay.
definitely share. But it would be good to continue in English so that
All
everybody
right.
can understand. Thank you so
All
much.
right. Thank you, Anne. Thanks for letting me know. All right. So, this one. If we accept that we live in an imperfect world, right? With everything that's been changing, with everything that's being uncertain, wouldn't it be good that we know how to deal with it later on? And dealing with it later on would definitely mean taking care of ourselves by being mentally fit and strong as possible, right? Because no matter what, things will not be perfect, even if we want them to be. That's the challenge, at the same time, the beauty of life, right? So let's do that. Let's help ourselves and let's be more aware of who we are by being mentally fit and understanding, okay, what does it mean? How do I become mentally fit? How do I help myself moving forward? So first, they always say this. Before, I didn't really believe this, but now I do. Okay, because when we improve our physical well-being, when we have energy, we have more energy also to fight the bigger challenges of our life, right? That 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 may sound like a cliche, but when we're physically fit, right, with the bigger problems, with the greater challenges that we have to go through later on, our body will also not tell us na, tama na, you're weak na eh. Because we exercise. Because we get to take care of our body in that way. So alam natin, ipupush lang natin. We push our bodies to be, okay, kaya mo yan. You can do it. Right? So, yes. Because when we improve our physical well-being, we also increase our serotonin, which is our happy hormones. And when that's increased, when we have happy hormones, we become more positive with the things that may or can happen to us. So yes, let's exercise, even if it's as simple as jogging, or simple as, okay, sorry, jogging may not be simple for everyone. As simple as walking around your house for a couple of minutes, perhaps after a heavy meal, or if you have skipping ropes at home, you can probably do a couple of jumping jacks as well. About little things, kanya-kanya. Or if you live in a condominium, for example, you can use the stairs, right, instead of using the elevator. So those are little things that we can do to improve our physical health. Finding purpose and meaning in what we do. Why are you in the job that you're doing, right? What gives you meaning with the things that you do? When we understand what's our purpose, when we understand why we do the things we do, it makes us um, more in touch with our passions also. It makes doing the things we do more meaningful, right? We don't do things half-baked. Kasi passionate kasi ginagawa mo eh. Kasi you like what you're doing, right? When you know your purpose, you become resilient to the changes because you know that, okay, I'm doing this for a greater goal. I'm doing this, I'm going to work because I have a sense of purpose, because I want to be able to help others, for example. I want to be able to save up for something, for example. That's why okay, in spite of everything that's going on now, in spite of me getting scared of going out, but because my company needs me to go to work 3 times in a week, I'll take on the challenge because I like my job, or that's the purpose of why you're here. Working for your family, working for your own sanity and your own happiness. So there, you find the meaning. And then ask for help, right? They say, that's what they say, that the most resilient people, they're not scared to ask for help when they feel like it or when they feel they need it. Right? Being resilient doesn't mean like you can take on the world. Being resilient doesn't mean I can do this on my own, right? It's when you know when you need help. It's when you know that, okay, I'm drawing the line already. I'm getting exhausted. I'm getting exasperated. Thus, I need someone to vent to, or I need someone to give me guidelines or advice, right? And that's all right. Okay, that's okay. It doesn't make you a loser. It doesn't make you a weak person. When you ask for help, you know na okay, hindi ko na ata kaya. And it's being humble also, right? Because the most resilient people, they know their limits. Okay, when you're at your limit already, all right, I'll pass it on to someone or I'll ask help from somebody else, right? And then, being hopeful. This is what I always tell my clients also. It's about changing our perspective. Telling yourself that, okay, this too shall pass. This pandemic will pass. And then, well, right now it's not going to go anywhere, but it's not going to stay forever, right? We have to have that perspective in our mindset, because if not, we will be too clamped up with the idea of getting scared. We will be too caught up with the idea that, okay, this is just it. There's no more hope. So it's about changing our perspective. It's about understanding that, this isn't, the pandemic will go away soon. We will soon find a vaccine, right? And we can all go back doing the things that we like to do, or the things that are most important to us. And for those who've lost their jobs, telling yourself that, okay, there's a greater purpose for this, and that I will be able to find a job later on. I'll be able to figure things out eventually. So it's accepting that this is your now, and then moving forward and telling yourself that this too shall pass. And I think this is the last tip that I'm going to give you. It's about practicing your attitude. They say attitude, yeah, is everything. We probably heard our parents or our teachers growing up telling us that, oh, your attitude is everything, because in the real world, um, it will matter. And it's true. This is our real world right now. This is our reality. How we react to the little things that happens to us gives us a bigger, or shapes us into who we become later on. And it teaches us how to be more resilient to things. As simple as, when you're on your way to a meeting, a Zoom meeting, for example, and workmates or your managers already online, right? So what do you do? Natapunan ka ng coffee or you spilled coffee over your shirt and you don't want to show yourself like that with everybody online, right? So as simple as how do you deal with that? Do you get pissed? Do you just tell yourself, okay, this is a very little thing and I hope that they won't notice it? Or you can just say, sorry guys, I spilled coffee, but yes, let's go on. So attitude is about dealing with the little nitty-gritties of our lives, okay? And dealing with it in a more positive aspect. Now, not everything has to have a negative reaction. Or as a whole, not everything has to have a reaction. And we need that, especially right now, if we want to be resilient to change. We need to be able to see that, okay, with this new rule in my barangay or new rule in my city, how do I deal with it? How do I react with it? Do I lash out and and scream at the screen saying that walang kwenta or my government is not doing anything? Or I can practice it little by little in my own attitude, in my own way, and how to react to it. Okay, so it's always a choice. How do you react to things equates to being resilient, really. Okay, so I think that's my last slide for the tips. Now we will be answering your questions, which
Thank
I
you,
believe,
Shine.
yeah, Anne
Yeah, so
has here.
we are getting several questions from Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube. I'll read some of them now. Okay, so the
Okay.
first question is, you talked about a lot about attitude and staying positive, and this too shall pass. But there are people who have experienced the impact of COVID, which is probably losing a job or closing a business
Mhm.
because of the pandemic. So, what are your tips on how to bounce back if you experience any of the changes that you mentioned earlier?
Okay. Number one is again, we go back to understanding the situation. Okay. You cannot go on hating your company for letting you go because I'm pretty sure that your companies does not want you to let go or does not want to let you go, sorry. Diba? Because it's business for them. But what can they do when they keep you and they have nothing to pay you anymore or no salaries anymore and they're just going to bleed the company to death? Then diba, it's also not it's not safe, right? So say for example you've lost your job. Yes, it's difficult for everybody. It's difficult for you because you're saving up for something big, or this is the job that I've wanted. I've replaced it with something that I also wanted before. But we, right now, in the new normal, with the COVID, with the pandemic, how do we expect to keep our jobs when our companies, the companies that we work for or we work with, cannot also sustain us? So it's about understanding the situation, looking at the bigger picture more than, you know, feeling angry or feeling bad or feeling I mean, yeah, resentment is part of it, right? But feeling all those things, you can change that perspective into saying that, okay, naintindihan ko or I understand the company is going through a lot of challenges, right? So I think that's one way to help us move forward to that challenge. Okay,
Thank you,
Anne?
Shine. Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
Um, you shared earlier that there are different reactions to the new normal, right? Like for example, withdrawing, social withdrawal, or possibly the difficulty of feeling happy or emotional numbing. So you said it's normal to not feel okay. What if I'm not feeling myself or feeling generally sad for the past 2 months already? Should I be worried?
Mhm. Like what they say in the practice of psychology, right? And you have to also figure out as to how long has this person been feeling bad. Okay, so say in speaking psychologically speaking, depression usually you can usually or actually diagnose depression when it's 3 months beyond, when it's a consistent behavior also of withdrawal, with not wanting to socially interact with others. But for now, we also give a little leeway because of everything that's been happening, right? Say, for example, you've closed down the business. So you allow that person to feel bad for a couple of days, a couple of weeks. And as long as there is no self harm, as long as the person doesn't share, doesn't attempt to do something really bad for herself, like starve also, then okay, transition little by little, approach the person, talk to the person. But if in the event that he or she does something harmful to herself or to others, then seek professional help.
All right. Shine, a lot of people have been working from home, no, because
Yeah.
of the pandemic. And what if your trigger for anxiety and depression is actually from home? So I got this from an anonymous. This is an anonymous question on Zoom. How do
Yeah.
you cope if your trigger is actually at home and you're now staying at home longer? What do you do?
Right, right. I think that's a very common concern also for a lot of people right now, actually. And because for
Mm.
others, if you're not okay, say with your family members, but you are asked to be home most or all the time, then it's so difficult to focus, right? It's so difficult to interact with these people because the trigger is just right there. It's right in your face. So how do you deal with that? So every day, um, try to tell yourself that okay, I'm going to be working at home right now. I need to be able to focus on my job, and then acknowledge that okay, nakakainis, andito yung nanay ko, nakakainis, ang ingay-ingay. Okay, acknowledge that na okay, today she's gonna probably say something again, but I need to be able to focus on my work. So probably find a little space at home. May it be outside your little veranda or a corner of your house where you can work more, or you can have that quiet time for yourself. And then most of all, tell yourself also that, you know what, okay, this is probably my trigger right now, but change your perspective by thanking the situation, thanking yourself that okay, at least my trigger is here. Yeah, my trigger is my mom, but she's okay, and she's with me, and we're all healthy. Okay na lang kahit naiinis ako kasi nakaka-anxious siya talaga every time sisigawan ako, right? But change your perspective. No, okay, at least she's home, she's okay, we're all healthy, and again, this too shall pass.
Thanks,
I hope I
Shine.
answered that anonymous
Yeah.
question.
I'll try to combine some of the questions I'm getting. All right. We have several teachers, educators, parents in the webinar today, and dealing with the youth, dealing with young people. The youth are also affected with this pandemic. So, for example, those who are living in remote areas and are unable to continue with their education, how do we help our youth, our kids, our students be also deal with the changes or the challenges that they're facing at the moment?
Mhm. When you're speaking about the remote areas, and these are the areas that do not have access to internet,
Yes,
correct?
technology and internet.
Yes,
Yeah.
these are
Mm-hmm.
the areas where there's no internet, there's no technology. Like currently, what I'm doing with some co-parents from where my kids go to school, we're collating different materials online. Since if you have someone, if you know someone, say a teacher who can print out materials for students, then please you can probably combine them together and then share them to your barangays. As simple as, alam mo, pag yung kasambahay nyo or the people that work for you in the house, when they have kids who are going to the public school, please, if you have the printer or you have the link or you have the internet, help them. print it out for them. Okay. Same goes for the different remote barangays. Let's work hand in hand, right? If you know people from there, if you're an educator, I myself, I'm also I work also in the academe. You gather resources. Okay, you gather links, you gather resources, you print them out, and then you can share them to your different barangays. And then later on, if GCQ or ECQ will be more lenient, then we can probably do a barangay visit, right? Where you can also reach out to these children in different barangays or in different remote areas. But I think the challenge also is going to the remote areas. Okay? Kung pwede lang ba ipa-LBC or pa-GANT, diba? Why not? Right? Yeah, but the best thing, based from my experience, in terms of working with barangays or remote areas, contact their we call this contact their barangay tanod or their mayors. Kasi meron at meron din namang yang magre-reply sa'yo so that you can work together as to how you can help them. As simple as donating your books will go a long, long way.
And related to that question, Shino, so you answered specifically on how to help them manage the challenges of education. But
Mm-hmm.
how about mental health of
Mm-hmm.
children and the mental health of children and the youth? How do
Okay.
you help them deal with the changes that are happening?
Right. It's very important that we talk to our children. I always tell when I give my parenting talks and seminars to parents, I always tell them not to underestimate their children. Right? Sometimes we feel like, hindi, kasi 6 years old na yan, di niya yan naiintindihan. And that's a misconception. Our children, our kids they're very in touch with their emotions. And they can easily feel what the parent or the parents are feeling. When you worry, they also worry. So please do not hesitate to talk to your children and to tell them that, okay, this is what COVID is all about. Okay, everybody may be facing a different challenges when it comes to COVID, but we are here. We are a family. We'll go through this together. If you have questions, if you're scared of anything, talk to mama or tell papa about it, and we'll figure it out together. Right? Pag-usapan natin. There are different ways when we can talk about it. But what's important also that when you respond to your children, you do not exaggerate or you do not elaborate because by doing so, you would be making them worry the more. Okay, and there are also different sites which DepEd also, yes, DepEd also shared a couple of weeks ago on how to help children cope with the new normal. There are also different clips in Facebook which I saw in different organizations on how to help teens and children go through the new mental process of this. And I'm sure Infinite Care will probably have her own later on, so that we can address it more for parents.
Thank you, Shine. So let's switch it up a bit. There are
Mm-hmm.
questions around, I feel good, I'm okay, but I see people needing help. Can I offer and extend help even if I am not a counselor or a registered psychologist? How do
Yes,
I
of
offer support?
course.
Mhm.
Yeah. Any kind of help is help, right? You don't have to be a professional. You don't have to have a degree in guidance and counseling or counseling just to help others. And how? As simple as asking the person, how are you doing? How are you feeling today? As simple as that will go a long way. Okay? If the person tells you, I'm not feeling so well, then please be ready to listen. When you reach out to others, do not expect that 100% the person will really go to you and tell you everything. That even happens to us counselors. But the fact that you've reached out, the fact that you sought for that person is already a very big thing. Okay, and it's that person will definitely appreciate it. Maybe not now, but I'm sure in the future.
Yeah. So listening, someone made a comment. Listening, in fact, is already helpful, right?
Yes, very
Um,
much.
and
Listening
and
without judgment. Sorry,
There you go. Listening
I just
without
want to add.
judgment. 'Cause a lot of us do that. No, we anticipate how to answer even before actually listening to what the person wants to share.
Right.
Um, and if you are the person needing help, and let's say, you don't feel like you could share it to your friends or to your colleagues, how do you know when it's the right time to actually approach a professional? Because there's a stigma in the Philippines, right, of approaching professionals. So how do you
Mm-hmm.
know it's the right time? And what if I really don't think something's wrong with me and I really just want to talk to someone? How do you know?
Um, we can, like, for example, physical changes. We know when it's not normal na eh, 'di ba? When you know that you never have a hard time sleeping, but in 2 months straight, you haven't been sleeping well. And you've grown your eye bags already, you've had like really bad eye bags already, then you know na okay, parang hindi na to normal. This isn't me anymore. Then please reach out, even to a friend. Ask your friend, is that normal? I'm not sleeping anymore. Or you know what? I don't enjoy watching movies anymore, right? The things that I used to enjoy are not creating joy in my life anymore. So you can ask as simple as asking a friend, asking someone, do you think this is okay? Right? You don't have to go on telling that person what's been happening in your life. Just like it's just like a mental check, kumbaga. It's just like checking up on, am I okay? And it's not bad also to look for, reading materials online, right? To check now, okay, is this still, am I still on the right track? And if not, there's really nothing wrong with asking for help, right? There's nothing wrong with telling people that I'm not okay today.
Does
So
that
let's
mean,
talk
so
some other time.
in the Philippines, they say, no, and maybe true for other, those who are listening from other parts of Asia, that the stigma that if you are seeing a professional, then you're crazy.
Mhm.
How do you deal with that? Because I think it stops people from approaching people as well, or
I
asking
think
for help.
it's yeah. I've been in this profession for almost 2 decades now, and I've realized that it's not about being afraid of being called crazy, right? It's being afraid. It's more of um, not knowing that. Okay, it's okay. Let me rephrase that. It's more of but when you figure out something about yourself, will you be more ready to change it? Will you be open to changing that part of you? I think it's because especially nowadays, those who are in their 20s, they're so open already. Say for example, you have a staff. Your staff can just cry on you and tell you, Miss, I'm on a mental breakdown. And they're becoming open to that. They're becoming open to the idea that, okay, I want to seek help, right? So it's really not about being crazy. I always tell my clients, the younger ones, for example, when I have counseling, we do it in a coffee shop, for example, just so to make them feel like, okay, this is just like a little chat with a friend, only that that friend is a professional, in where that friend can actually give you guidelines and can actually give you a goal um, to work on, right? So it's really not about being crazy, but it's more of, getting the right kind of help that you need.
All right. So I'm seeing a question from YouTube. Um, how do you, what if you see someone that you feel actually needs help,
Mm-hmm.
and then you reach out to that person, you ask how are you, but it seems that that person does not want help. So how
Yeah.
can you extend help to someone who rejects
This-
help?
It's just like saying, how can we give help to someone who doesn't want to be helped, right? The fact that you've reached out to that person, give yourself a pat already at the back and tell yourself, okay, I'm doing the right thing. But we cannot force the person. Eh. If that person is not yet ready to open up, if that person is not ready to tell you what she or he is going through, then we are really not in the right place to keep knocking and, bothering that person. And when the person is ready, then that's probably the time that she or he will reach out to you. But I always tell this to my clients and to everyone that I talk to in situations like that. As long as there is no self-harm and self to others that's happening, then you can let that person be for a while. But when you feel like, okay, this is going strange already, she's alone in her house and she's not been answering anyone's call or she's not been opening the door, then call the closest family member. Okay, ask for help already. It's better to be extra cautious or extra careful in situations like that, so that we can save a life.
Okay. Thanks, Shine. So many questions coming from Zoom, YouTube, and Facebook, and we have a few minutes left. I'll probably entertain three more questions. Is that okay, Shine? And what we
Sure,
can
sure,
do
sure.
here at Infinite Care is collate all the questions and probably release a response to most of them if we can. All right. So I'll read the last few questions here. Okay. There's a lot of negativity when you open TV and social media? How do you handle all this toxic negativity
Yeah.
from all these sources?
Yeah, it's sad, no? Instead of giving you good vibes, it's all the negativity. So if you're the type of person who really gets affected by all this negativity, it depends kasi on what kind of person you are. For me, for example, I'm the type of person that I need to, at the end of the day, I need to figure out what's been happening. I listen to the news every day at nighttime. But for others, that's a very negative way to do it because you lack sleep or you'll get insomnia, become insomniac because you worry a lot. So if it's something that triggers you, then avoid it. Okay? If you want to read the news or if you want to know about the news but you want to get rid of all the other negativity, then probably just download or read an app, let's say CNN or Inquirer or GMA, because reading is less a little less stressful, no? Instead of really visualizing everything and the videos that you see online. So yeah, learn to filter what makes you learn to filter what ticks, learn to filter what bothers you. So when it's something that's scary and you don't want to, just turn off your TV. You don't have to watch the news anyway every day, right? If if it works for you that way.
I think the
So
key is
filter.
yeah, filter. The key is balance. No, I see a comment here on how do you stay balanced or staying informed yet staying sane,
Yeah.
right? So it
Yeah.
actually means reading the news maybe just for a few minutes in the morning and maybe again
Mm-hmm.
in the afternoon, then turn it off.
Right.
You don't
Or
need to
browse
know.
through it.
Yeah, don't
Browse. Don't
mm,
internalize.
mm.
Yeah,
Okay.
because that will drive you insane.
Yes. Great. Okay. So a couple of questions here. Let me read out. Okay, what if you're already in the middle of an anxiety or a panic attack? Maybe first because this is a combination of different questions on the Q&A and I'm just trying to combine them. So, what would be the signs of a panic or an anxiety attack and how do you deal with it when you're already there?
Mhm.
Yeah.
The very basic sign of a panic attack is when you feel like your chest is throbbing. Okay, throbbing, like continuously throbbing for a couple of minutes, and in your head are different thoughts that are going through already. So you try to feel your chest. Learn to take deep breaths. Okay, that's the basic. Learn to take deep breaths. And if that still doesn't work, what I always tell my clients, to get a glass of water. Okay, get a glass of water in the kitchen, drink that water, give yourself some time. Okay, give yourself some time to be away from noise or people, or make sure your ventilation is okay, and then take deep breaths. If hindi pa rin, if it still doesn't work, please tell somebody in the house that I think I'm having a panic attack. And then you know what? My clients, they just pick up the phone. They call me. Sometimes we go through different exercises. I go through with them the different exercises on the phone, and that relaxes, that calms them down. So you can also do that. You can ask a friend, you can call a friend, or you can talk to someone who's at home with you. That actually helps. And if that, of course, increases later on, no, the anxiety, that if it happens more than once in a day or every day, then that's the time that you seek professional help so you can be guided through.
Okay, thank you, Shine. One last question before we close. There are several comments here in the Q&A talking about how you don't want others to know what you're going through because they will just simply dismiss what you're saying, or they will
Mm-hmm.
simply disregard what you are feeling, and because you don't
Mm-hmm.
like it, you just keep it to yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you suggest to people who are suffering silently?
Mm-hmm. Number one, especially at this point in our lives where everyone's very much affected, we have to trust humanity. We have to trust in the goodness of others. Okay? How will we know? How will we know if that person's willing to listen to us if we've never tried approaching that person in our life? Okay, sometimes we have that misconception that, oh, I don't want to bother him anymore because he's going through a lot of problems also, right? Or I don't want to be judged, so I'm not just going to say it. But you're going through something and you haven't really tried reaching out to that person. So how will you know that that person will dismiss you, right? So it's about taking chances. It's about um, making choices also, right? You know what they say, and something that I really believe in order for you to be a friend, you have to be a friend yourself. You have to be not scared. You have to risk reaching out to others when you need them. So, yeah,
Thank
believe in the
very
goodness of humanity.
Yeah, very powerful. Thank you so much, Shine, for all of that wisdom. For me, a few things to end this. My own personal takeaways. One is it's all about our attitude, and really surround yourself. If there's negativity, surround yourself with positivity, right? So avoid the negative. So limit your social media, limit news, only look at what is important and surround yourself with supportive people. Also, you mentioned do not be afraid to ask for help. Right? Do not be afraid to ask for help. And that's why for us at Infinite Care, we are also here. Please do, if you found this webinar useful, please like our Facebook page. It's Infinite Care Co. Our Instagram page. Please also answer our survey at the end of this webinar. We'd like to know what other topics you'd want to learn about. You can also visit our website, right? So at the end of this call, we will be sending out a recording. You could also go to YouTube. We will keep the recording of this video on YouTube. So thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for attending, and have a good evening.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.